Welcome, everybody, to the Worlds of Ability Podcast Network. My name is Emily Gomer, and a podcast engineer here. So to bring you another episode of the Blue Collar Crypto Show, Tim Torosian, which I do here every Sunday at 4 and 5:30 p.m. Central, about crypto and business tips for blue collar workers. So over to you, Tim. Tim, what's our topic today? Tim, if you're talking, I can't hear you. Yeah, what's our topic today, Tim?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, our topic is Bitcoin, dominance of the world. That's the topic. That's the one I feel like going with today. Do you want to comment on that, Emily? Maybe?
Not sure the moment, but go ahead and tell us about Bitcoin.
Okay, let's go with that, okay? So, Bitcoin is roughly, what, 100, 120,000, somewhere there, 113,000. You check it like you might check what the price of gold is or silver is. But why is that not important? Really, what is the value? What is it worth today in United States dollars? Well, we're really not caring anymore what anything is worth in dollars anymore, right? Because sooner or later, and a lot of people believe the Bitcoin will replace the dollar somehow, or become just as important. So why are we talking about Bitcoin in terms of what it's worth in dollars? The dollar is really not that important. We're just going to say, well, that's worth a half a Bitcoin, or give me a quarter of Bitcoin, or I'll sell you the house for a Bitcoin. I don't know, a couple Bitcoins for this house, right? That'll be 130,000 for a house. No, 260, 230 for a house, 2 Bitcoin. So I'll sell you a house for 2 Bitcoin. That might be more reality than we care to accept at right now. But we're really not talking about the future. We're just talking about today. So what's going on? For those of you who might not know, the dollar is really accepted everywhere in the world. Every country would like to denominate in dollars. There's currency exchanges everywhere in the world. You can trade in your dollars for the local currency, but they really want the dollars, and so they're happy to give you their currency for dollars or whatever. But they'll take the dollars anyway. They'll accept that when you go purchasing things. You know, in Egypt, they didn't want my dollars for some reason. But with credit cards and debit cards, you don't really need to exchange your dollars anymore. You can just use your credit or debit card. It's accepted everywhere. What does Visa say? We're accepted everywhere in the world. So the dollar is pretty dominant. For those of you that don't know, for those of you that don't know, even the euro, which is used in 20 or so countries or so in Europe, is pegged to the dollar. That means the euro that's used in all those countries is the same value as the dollar. So it's dominant. And there's so many other countries that use the euro. Canada's and England's currency is closely related to the dollar, but not as much, 1 for 1, more like 1.5 pounds or British pounds to the dollar. So we're using dollar. We're not likely to say goodbye to the dollar, but we are likely to start using the Bitcoin. And most of us are wondering, why are we going to use Bitcoin? What's the necessity for we already have the dollar, what do we need the Bitcoin for? Which is to say, in 72, we went off the gold standard, but that was about 50 years ago. I mean, we stopped using gold. And we started to use electronic money and credit cards, which is electronic money. And so this is just another evolution of us changing our currency to something that all of us are more comfortable with. And Bitcoin has attained a level of comfort and convenience in our world. A lot of countries may use it as their currency in the future instead of what they use for their own currency. Like I said, they're happy to use the dollar, but why not just use the Bitcoin, right? Hey, every country just uses Bitcoin for purchasing. There's plenty of room for Bitcoin in the world currency markets. So, but let's deep dive a little bit into what's the problems of the dollar. It's not backed by gold like it used to be. And we keep defending our dollar by creating wars in the world and by killing people, and that makes our dollar more valuable. And I hate to say it that way, but the war does help your currency. It's, you're in different parts of the world, the dollar becomes more valuable. So every time we have a war conflict, the dollar is pumped up in value. That's just a concept, but look at our history. History shows all these wars that we're having. So the people have to die to pump up the value of currency. Oh, sorry, it's just a concept. Also, our deficit's kind of getting out of hand, and our politicians basing our deficit on the dollar. Our deficit's getting out of hand. Yeah, statistically, it's about $1 trillion at least in just interest to the budget every year goes towards the deficit. Our entire budget is paid for the deficit every year. So the dollar is not in really good shape. And that kind of leaves the opening for Bitcoin. And our politicians are regularly saying, oh, the deficit doesn't matter. We can run as big a deficit as we want. It doesn't make any difference. So, yeah, the subject today is Bitcoin. Will it be El Salvador's? Like they have chosen to use Bitcoin as their national currency. Will Brazil use it? Wow, what the hell? Brazil could use it. That's half of South America. What about Venezuela? Will they adopt Bitcoin? These are all options. They have terrible, terrible inflation in these countries. Bitcoin and other currencies can solve that problem. Whereas the dollar can't help. We can't help these countries. All we can do is shoot missiles at them and kill people. And it's all we can do. We can't do anything economically for these countries, but Bitcoin may be able to. And that's the subject for today, and that's the show for today. So until next, thank you for being here with me, our production staff, and see you at the next Blue Collar Crypto.
Thank you, Tim, for all the information about Bitcoin. And we're here at 4 and 5:30 p.m. Central every Sunday. If you're interested in being a guest in a show or any of the other shows, please let us know. And check out other people we're connected with, like Jay Stone of the Disability Channel, Marcus Hart of Transform U, Zach Clinton of the PAC Channel, Roll Williams of the Midwest Plans and Podcast, among other Mike Balin of Mark TV, among others. So until next time, everybody has a safe, productive week and to stay happy.